everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Sphere of Success, where we always make sure that we can look at life's grey clouds and see the silver lining. See sometimes those areas for development where we think that we're being hit by brickbats. And no, it's not nice. It isn't. But if we can get comfortable with being uncomfortable, okay with being forged in the fire, understanding that sometimes with the lens of hindsight, things that were absolutely horrible can actually be the best things that ever happened to us. And it's trying to take that pain away so that we don't have to go through those awful moments and know that things happen for the reasons that are for our own best. Even those things that we feel, come on, hang on a minute, this isn't for my own best scenario. Well, actually, sometimes they are. And today we have the most amazing guest. It's all the way from Toronto because we're based here in the UK. We've got a wonderful international audience, but it's always lovely to speak to people from across the pond. And Kwesi Jamaal, he is an holistic health and wellness practitioner. He helps people to develop into the most best optimization form that they can. That includes the financial abundance as well. And also, along the way, with that, it's about the body, the mind, the spirit, and how we nurture ourselves, both internally and externally, to be the very best versions of ourselves that we can be. And Crazy doesn't just talk the talk like a teacher. He actually walks the talk. He does what he says on the tin every single day. He does it with joy in his heart and sometimes not so much joy, as we were speaking earlier. But he recognizes that we're just all human beings. We're all okay. We can always be a little bit better. We can always have a little bit more of a breakthrough. And it doesn't matter if we have a quantum leap or tiny little increments, as long as we're on the pathway, the compassion that we show ourselves often is the measure of how much we're in tune with who we are and what we're here to achieve. So without further delay, let me wonderfully welcome you to Kwesi Jamaal. Just wonderful privilege to have you on the show, Kwesi. Welcome.
Thank you, Deb. What a an amazing intro. Thank you so much. I'm flattered and I'm honored and privileged to be here with you, speaking and being on your podcast to your audience. Lovely audience. I love what you're doing here, so thank you for the opportunity to be here and to join you.
Oh, it's very much our privilege as well, Kwesi, because to the audience, I've spoken before with Kwesi, and he's such a lovely, eloquent man. He has a beautiful way with words, almost poetic, I would say, as well. Has this lovely lilting. You could find yourself just floating off on a wonderful cloud with his beautiful words. He wraps you up in this kind of like warm hug of a being. And
Oh,
I know that you just love listening to the way that he works and what he does for his wonderful clients. And you too might wish to be one of those. So as I always do, Crazy, it's always nice to hear who you are behind the business. So perhaps you could let us know a little bit about your journey, where you've been, what got you here, and looking to the future, what is your vision?
yes. Oh, love that. Great questions. Let's start with COVID. Something still relevant. What brought me to coaching? During COVID, I was working for the federal government here in the security capacity, and I was given the option when the mandates came down, like, hey, go this way, choose your autonomy, or don't choose the autonomy. And I chose my autonomy when it came to certain mandates. So I had a choice to leave my job and try something new. And I booked a one-way ticket to the DR on the beach for almost 2 months, enjoying the ocean water, the sunshine, fresh air, the vibrancy of the island, country, and the people. And then decided, okay. It's time to go back home just before they closed off our borders and closed the airlines for everyone coming in and out. I return, and the contrast of being in the sun, I'm from the Caribbean, originally Trinidad specifically, the contrast of being in like my natural habitat and coming back to Toronto, where I've lived for a long time. But coming out to Toronto in winter time, very limited sun, isolated because at that time I had to quarantine. I was detached from family, from community, physically, and my health started to deteriorate. I realized that one, I wasn't eating properly, the thoughts, toxicity in my thoughts, being alone, not having income, not having means to feed myself. So I ended up in a bad place financially, mentally, physically, and community-wise, socially. That lasted several months, and I went from 175 pounds of my sitting weight to about 150 pounds in less than 2 months. And I'm like, okay, I am officially in a state of depression. My body is doing that because my body started to slow down and shut down, and something that our viewers may not be aware of. And I only learned this when I went to seek help eventually, that depression is a way of your body slowing down and shutting down to basically keep you alive, to keep you to keep your organs functioning as best as they can and putting the energy into what is necessary and vital for you to survive. So I sought help, and through that process of healing, I sought help to heal. And through that process of healing, I learned many things that I was unaware of about how food and nutrition impacts your body, your gut health, your mind, how sunlight impacts your health and well-being, how this being disconnected from community, whether it's family or social community, also impacts your mind, impacts how you think, how you feel, your needs for connection, for understanding, for participation, for understanding. Those things are very important and necessary for our wellness and well-being. So going through this journey, I started to heal myself with different practices and putting together a wellness plan. For the first time in my life, putting together a wellness plan and what that looks like, intentional about when I sleep, when I wake, what foods I eat. I'm plant-based. Um, and that's my personal journey in life, a spiritual journey, I would say. But yes, your nutrition, your environment, the way that you think. And through that journey, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm now healing and thriving. It took some time, intentional dedication to manifesting who I am now, the version of myself that I am now. I call it my 2.0 version. That took some time, but on that journey, I said, you know what? This wealth of knowledge and lived experience that I have, I want to be able to share this with my family first. I want to be able to share this with my community. I want to intentionally connect with other people that are aligned when it comes to their values, the value of family, value of wealth, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your finances, the value of a sound mind, capacity to think, to feel, to experience, to attract. Right? And that's how I decided I want to coach. And the journey started December of 2023, studying, being certified in health and wellness, in nutrition, in plant-based nutrition, in weight management, diet, and in relationships as well, because that's very important. And I launched my business in July of 2024, which was a big deal for me to say, hey, I'm officially a business owner, officially an entrepreneur, passionate about helping people meet their health and wellness, which is wealth, goals, enhancing people's lives with tools and structured programs for them to just feel their best, to optimize their wellness, optimize their mindset, and just achieve their full potential in life, which is something that's very difficult to accomplish if you don't have your health, whether it's your mental health, your physical health, um, your community health, your social health, your financial health. These are all wealths that we have, forms of wealth in our lives. So for me, I'm passionate about connecting with individuals that's like, hey, this is where I want to go. These are the blocks that are happening, or even the unawareness of how my actions, the way I think, of how I feed myself, of how I move my body or don't move my body, the environment that I'm in, how that impacts me reaching my full potential and accomplishing success in my life. So that's what I do, and I love what I do.
Wow, that is awesome. So
Yeah.
good. because that's a holistic approach where sometimes I liken it to being on a wheel. And if you have a spiky wheel,
Mhm.
you might be incredibly good at some things, but really bad at others. And I know that's been the trajectory of my life for a very long time.
That's
It's an
right.
uncomfortable wheel to sit on because at some stage that spike's going to get you. And it's wonderful to think that you're looking at that as a holistic, rounded wheel, that you've got those
Yeah.
different pillars in place to be able to build a strong foundation,
Hmm.
to be able to move and build upon, ever strengthening, ever elevating that structure. What would you
Yes.
say to somebody who's thinking, oh, that wheel sounds pretty busy? There's a lot in that wheel, and I can't really get my head around even the one thing. I'm very much drawn to the cookie jar or to the French fries, or indeed,
Right.
it could be a money issue, or it might be, you know what, physical fitness and me, we just don't get on. Or I might have a medical condition that is preventing me from being the best I can in a physical perspective. How would you say to
Mhm.
somebody that's got a few little different things and they just think, you know what, I'm just not going to start because it's just too much to begin with?
So the several approaches through coaching have quickly recognized that fears often hinder our progress and our growth, especially the fear of self-transformation that challenges our comfort levels, even if it means sacrificing us reaching our full potential in life, right? And accomplishing all these dreams and these goals that we have. So my first approach would be a conversation as to the awareness of the person that I'm speaking to. What is your awareness of the way that you think and how your thinking impacts your capability? What is your awareness around what you might be uncomfortable with, what pain points you may have, and then we have a discussion around that, and then we talk about, okay, this is how you've been thinking, this is how it's been impacting you, and this is where you want to be. This is the objective. If you were to take one step, just one, and focus on that for 7 days. Do you have capacity to do that? And usually I hear, yeah, I can take one step. But how am I supposed to get there if I just take, I breathe differently for 7 days? I'm like, and let's start there. Let's start with the structure. I just want you to breathe for 5 minutes differently that you've been breathing your entire life. What this does, it gives your body more oxygen, which gives you more ability and capacity to even try something in your physical body. And then we focus on your body. One of the quickest ways I've found to tap into your spirit and to tap into your inner wellness is through your body. So I encourage my clients to feel through their body. And then we talk about nutrition. And then we talk about the environment. And then we talk about your sleep pattern. And that's usually my approach. It's a heart-centered approach. It's radical accountability is definitely in there, but I'm very caring with my clients. And I work with your capacity because something we're not always aware of is, hey, you may have been at this particular way of being for about 15, 20, 30 years. It's unrealistic to change overnight. So let's take it one step at a time. Let's start with your breath, then focus on your body, and then we set goals around that to accomplish the objective. That's how I would approach it. The fears, the mindset, the breath, the body, and then somatic movement. And then we get into exercise, whether it's strength training or resistance training. But that's how I approach it usually.
This is
Yeah.
great because anybody out there, and I think I was one of those people, is just like, I wanted to have it all too soon. But then again, if you try to do too much too soon, then you fall by the wayside when the temptation comes that you can't resist. And then you
Yes.
think, oh, well, I've gone wrong now, so I won't bother. And how much would you say from that not bothering perspective? You mentioned
Hmm.
that there was a catalyst, you know, you had COVID and it acted as
Yeah.
a sort of like a way seer, if you like. You know, it brought you to a level where you thought, I can't carry on. I've got a crisis point.
Hmm.
Well, how often do you get to people where you're just like, gosh, if you could just get to that point where you go, yeah, I've got to do it. And you
It,
can see the potential, but somebody's not quite. there yet. How do you
Yeah.
help them with that? How do you identify the purpose, the reason why?
Relatability. I use my real life stories to let you know that hey, I could relate to even though we're two different individuals, we're more alike than you think we're different. So while this is your pain point, I've experienced pain similarly. This is how my mind was thinking about the pain. This is why my mind kept me, hey, this isn't a life or death situation, so I'll stay within my comfort zone, which looks like I don't want to do that exercise today. I don't want to be consistent. I'm going to skip a meal. It's going to be okay. I know my body's going through something, but I don't even know what it is, so who cares? I've been living this way for so long, right? I haven't been sleeping more than 6 hours for 10 years. Um, so relatability. I make them know and understand that, hey, you're not alone in this. And then I go back to the awareness where it's like, hey, pain is a powerful catalyst for change, but fear demotivates us and disempowers us from making that change. So again, the awareness, the mindset. How are you thinking about yourself? Why is there doubts? And can we, in spite of the fear, in spite of the doubt, can we take one step each day? Just one step. Commit to one step. Don't think about everything else. Just commit to one step each day. That builds confidence. And confidence comes from trust. Trust is built through action. If you could get you to take one action every day, then you develop the self-trust, and then you develop the confidence, and then you increase your goals to add more to your plate, which brings you closer to the manifestation of the version of yourself that you want to be. And that's usually the approach I go. So it's the relatability, the awareness, identifying the fear, breathing through it. So even that, for example, I'll give you a real life example. When I felt like eating something sugary in the morning instead of focusing on protein, the reason why this is important is because protein sets you up from to have a more productive and active day. When you wake up in the morning, the cortisol is usually the highest in the morning. And it's a good thing because that's supposed to get you active and up and ready to go. If you add sugar to that, that's a glucose spike. You're going to get a crash very soon, and it sets you up for a poor day. It sets you up for being hungry and having cravings much earlier in your day. So I always tell clients, start with a savory, protein-focused breakfast instead of sugar. So myself, if I wake up and I want to have, let's say, a donut instead of focusing on some oats in the morning, something like that, right? Back to the breath. I have the awareness, but my compulsion and the addiction to the food is like I want to go straight to it. I remember it and I just focus on my breath and breathe through it. When I'm having that, I need to have it. What that does is it disrupts the pattern of the addiction and gives me a chance to actually be conscious of what I'm doing and choose the better choice for myself. A lot of times when we get that feeling that feels compulsory, we need to have it, it lasts about 90 seconds. I guarantee you, if you breathe through those 90 seconds, the feeling dissipates, you have your conscious mind back, and you do exactly what you're supposed to do, keeping in mind what the objective is. I want to be healthy. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to fit into that bathing suit at the end of the month. You know what I mean? At 70 years old, I want to be able to stand up without assistance. I want to be able to walk 10 miles with my grandchildren and not be in a wheelchair drastic or not be like, oh, I'm winded after 10 steps. That's the most simple. Let the feeling dissipate, make a conscious choice to do the better option, the more healthier option to your body, and then you take it from there. Simple, practical step, not complicated.
Yeah, I love this. And what you're saying to me as well, which I hear, is repetition of a process. Repetition, repetition, repetition. And you're also talking about consistency, daily
Mhm.
repetition of a practice.
That's right.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts on, because we can take this for anything in life, not just for,
Anything. That's
yeah, not
right.
just, and I'm bringing it from the point of view of the success that we can get in one area, we can replicate
Mm.
because it works. How
Mm.
would you say, like, for instance, something's gone wrong in the business
Yeah.
and we have a go-to methodology? It might be getting anxious, getting angry, getting lashing out, saying unkind things, or not being the best that we could be in that moment. How do you help people? Is it a similar process that you adopt? Different scenario? What would you say in that scenario to help people immediately help in a crisis situation?
That's a great question. When we're in crisis, a couple of things happens. One of the things that happens is our brain kind of locks off and we go into this primal state of being. And what I mean by that is we are no longer just present. We black out and we go into a flight, fawn, or freeze, right? And the freeze is kind of like, ah. The fawn is looks like people pleasing. And then the fight could be, like you said, I'm cussing the out of this person right here, right now, right? Or physical. And then the flight is like, I'm just running away, closing my laptop, or running away from the situation, dismissing it, and maybe being passive aggressive, right? So be aware that your body is going into the state to protect yourself, first to begin with. So the intention is well intended. It's well intended, but the behavior is unkind to yourself and it's unkind to the person that you're dealing with. So in my business, it's a relationship business, right? My clients, I'm building relationship, I'm building trust, and helping them to do the same. That's what this consistency in these behaviors, behavior patterns and changes does. Consistency will build self-trust, which then reflects to the trust in your relationships and your business. It's very important, and I go over this often with my clients. The self-trust piece, once you have the action of the behaviors repeated over and over and over again, you get to trust yourself because you're making better decisions and better choices with your actions and your behaviors. That replicates inside, outside the same, as above, so below. Once you start to mature that within yourself, you'll see it happen in your business. So even when you're faced with, hey, this is happening and everything inside of me wants to fight or flight or fawn or freeze, breath, give yourself 90 seconds to a minute. Actually, I can make a conscious decision to not use the same behavior so I can be more productive. The person I'm interacting with is going to see this person is mature. Not only are they mature, they chose kindness over disrespect in this situation. And then that's going to optimize your business. It's going to optimize your success and your returns. But it's the same process of repetition. It's the same process.
Oh, this is so good because that breath, breathe, and then we're kind of distancing and stepping outside of the heat, aren't we? The heat of that moment, whether it's to reach for the donut instead of this morning, I changed my eating habit, as I said just before we came off air.
Yes.
I'd not been
Proud of
very
you.
well. Yeah, thank you. And I was listening to a lady called Barbara O'Neill. She's an Australian
Mhm.
lady, comes from Australia, and she was doing a podcast because, of course, I love podcasts because this is what I do. And she was talking about how you breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and have dinner or supper like a pauper.
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, how do you eat savory stuff for breakfast? Because I'm used to a piece of toast and marmalade. I'm British, and a cup of tea with sugar in. And
Yeah.
how do you change that? And actually, I am not someone to leap to the oven, but I bought myself a slow cooker. I made it an exciting prospect. I bought loads of food, and one of the things is I said, you know what, I'm not binning this food, so I'm going to have to eat it.
That's
And
right.
I got up half an hour earlier so that I could prepare this food, and it's usually spinach and vegetables and herbs that I chop up, and I'm soaking my own beans now and pulses, and I'm having lentils and quinoa. And you know what? I had breakfast at 7:30 this morning, big
Mhm.
bowl of spinach and stuff, and
Yes.
it's so tasty. I'm putting
Yes.
cumin and cayenne pepper and ginger on it, mint leaves, and I'm eating away and I'm going, I'm really enjoying this breakfast. And I'm looking now at the piece of toast and the marmalade, and I'm thinking, I can't eat that anymore. That just does not do it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm having in the morning, because I've never been a great flavor fan of water, I'm
Mm.
having warm water with lovely fresh lemon juice in it from the
Ooh, yeah,
lemons. And I'm like, this is great.
yeah.
And there's that shift. And what I did is I just kind of made it more exciting.
Yes.
And what's your thoughts on trying to help somebody? Because, I know what it's like to go after those donuts and those cookies. I know what it's like to crave the sugary things because I've had a sweet tooth all my life and now I've
Mhm.
kind of changed. And it was like a paradigm shift for me to thinking,
So
but
what
how do
I'm
you get that
hearing,
to be exciting?
what I'm hearing is you had an idea. First of all, you had a willingness. You had a willingness to change the pattern, right? And your intention most likely was better health. You developed a routine that was exciting and positive for you. So you shifted the way you thought about how you eat in the morning, from the sugar to a more savory breakfast, right? And now your practice, I'm going to call it a practice, allows you to have a better relationship with yourself, a more intimate, kind, caring, loving relationship with yourself. Just by buying the food instead of, hey, I'm going out and just getting something real quick, real fast. Your intentionality behind that is allowing you to be present in the process, to have the dopamine spike up, the serotonin, which comes from that, oxytocin, that comes from that love hormone. My whole point is once you shifted your behavior and your pattern and you included your emotions with it, it became more enjoyable for you. The emotional part is important. And I speak this to anyone that wants to, and let's get into the woo-woo a little bit. Manifestation, right? You say, how do I manifest this? I said it's a very simple formula for manifesting anything, right? It takes work to understand that, but it's this. Align your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then amplify your emotion. Once you amplify the emotion that you want to feel, the actions fall into place. What feeling do you want to feel after eating your meal? Think about it, take the action, and make the experience about the feeling. Not the feeling, "Oh, I just want this sugar rush in it." Not that feeling. Do I want to feel like I loved myself in this process, or do I want to feel guilty because I know I could be doing better? I'm not doing that. Focus on the feeling, amplify it, and take the aligned actions to making yourself feel that way. If you apply that to how you eat, you'll feel that way. If you apply the way to how you love someone else, you'll feel that way. If you apply the way to your job, you feel that way. Simple formula.
So good, so good. Because what this has done, and I don't want this show to be all about me because it's not, but I'm just helping
Why
people. It
not?
resonates. No, no, no. It's not about me, it's about our audience. But one of the things
Yes.
I like to do from personal experience that people can think, oh, well, Deborah's experiences, right? This whole thing about this eating change in the morning and at
Hmm.
lunchtime, etc., right? Is feel like a kid getting up like it's Christmas Day because I can't wait
Yeah.
to get this stuff cooked and eat it and have the product because I've been soaking stuff overnight and then I get to put it into the
Mm.
food and I've gone into I never knew about millet before and I'm eating millet now as a breakfast
Woo!
cereal. I'm soaking my rye flakes. I'm doing all it's just wonderful. Now,
I
if
love it.
that's not your bag, I completely understand it. But the other thing is, I've got a little dog, and because of this, she
Mm.
needs to go out every day and have a little root round and a little exercise, etc. So, armed with the fact now that I'm having this healthy breakfast, this is a knock-on effect. I'm
Mm.
energized. She's not a morning person at all. But so I'm working. And then because I'm not going to eat for about 6 hours, because Barbara was
Mm.
saying there's about a 6 hour gap before you should eat. And I think the late Dr. Michael Mosley is like, leave your body 6 hours before you eat again. So
Hmm.
from 7:30, oh, what is it going to be? It's going to be about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She
Yeah.
wakes up. I go out. I'm running like a kid with her because my body's got the fuel it needs to give me the energy and the vitality. My mood is better, my skin has improved, my
Mm.
whole attitude in the morning. I hate the dark, cold mornings. Well, I'm not going to say I hate
Yeah.
them anymore, I'm getting up, I'm bouncing around. Then I notice it's dark and cold. It's
Yes.
not the first thing I notice. And it's interesting what you say, little steps, because
Hmm.
they don't stay little for long in my experience.
No,
They have a
they don't.
lasting effect, don't they?
They don't. I love that you share that you get up, you have the energy to go out with your cute little dog after having a savory breakfast. Our body loves movement after we eat because the food is a fuel to energy, right? That's what our cells do. They use this, the glucose and turns it into energy. So another tip, health tip, anyone that wants to manage your weight, whether it's to keep a certain frame or to lose some weight, after you have a savory breakfast or a meal, give it about 15-20 minutes and then move your body for 10-15 minutes. And move your body, you don't got to be doing jumping jacks, just walk. What our bodies are there? Just walk. Walk for 10-15 minutes, 100 steps minimum, and you're going to feel your body like, wow, why do I feel so vibrant? Instead of, why do I feel so lethargic? Why is my body shutting down? Because the digestion part is it requires a lot of energy, right? And that's why you get, oh, I feel it kind of, especially at work. If you have a meal at work, you're like, oh, I want to sleep. No, no, no. Just get up and move your body for 10 to 15 minutes and fuel your body in that way and energizing your body that way. And then you have more energy for the rest of the day until it's time to like bed down, whatnot. You got to take it down. So that's another tip. So thank you for mentioning that. Move your body after you meet 10 to 15 minutes of walking after you eat a meal to feel more vibrant, more energized, cognitively and physically.
Oh, I love this stuff. It's so good because it works.
Yes.
And that's the thing. The beauty of it is that it works, and it's not too much of a paradigm shift for most people to be able to start to do a little bit. And even if it's just a bit, you're not going to go all out and do what I'm doing. But even if it's just a little bit of a nod, instead of you don't have to make huge changes quickly that you can't keep
No,
to. Just give yourself the compassion. And if you do it, great. And if you fall off the wagon, hey, it's not the end of the world. You
it
can
is not.
get up again tomorrow.
And we should be, thank you for that. We should be adjusting. I heard someone say this on a book I was reading. Literally, as you're transforming your life with these small steps, right? Every day you're going to find yourself adjusting. Hey, this decision that I'm making, is this the version of myself that I want to be? If not, okay, I gotta adjust this. You're gonna go through that a lot throughout your day. If you don't have self-compassion to be like, hey, I didn't do so well at this one. You get me next tomorrow or get me an hour from now, then you're gonna deplete your energy. Your mindset is gonna be more in the place that it's not you don't want it to be. So be compassionate with yourself and say, hey, even though I didn't get this one today or at this time, maybe the morning time or the night time, like going to sleep too late or waking up too late or whatever it is, remind yourself that it's just one day. Tomorrow's another day, and I got this. But we're always going to be adjusting to this version from the version that we've lived for so long for lack of awareness, right? Of how our thoughts and our feelings and emotions have impacted our life to the version of ourselves that we want to be. Transformation is powerful. I believe it's in everyone's capacity to transform your life, and the word transformation sounds so big, right? But the reason why I like to use it is literally the energy behind the word transformation is activating for me, right? If you could literally transform who you were yesterday, today, that's a big accomplishment. And it could be just making that choice to cook your breakfast versus buying it from a drive-through. That's a transformation in thought. Eventually be consistent with that. That's going to transform how your weight looks, your body goes. That's going to transform how you feel, the sugar rush up and down. That's going to transform the way that you sleep. That's going to transfer the energy that you have with your loved ones, with including your pets. This is what you need to think about. So the emotional part, right? Where it's like, how do I want to feel 10 years from now? How do I want to feel tomorrow? I know if I make this decision, it's going to impact me in this way tomorrow. But if I made a more healthier decision or a more conscious decision, I'm going to feel more energetic, more vibrant. And I want to feel that way. All right, cool. So let me love on myself in this way because I can.
Oh, well said, my friend. Well said. You get so inspiring. This has just been awesome. And I've just looked at the time and I thought, whoa, it's
I
going so
know.
super quick.
Yes.
It's brilliant. The other lasting thing that I'd like everybody to know as
Mhm.
well is that having this little routine change and also wait for it, I'm having a nice warm bath at night followed by a cold shower. Ooh, oh,
Woo!
oh, that's
Woo!
hardcore. And you know what? Last night I'm like, will anybody know if I don't do it? And I went, I'll know.
Yes.
And I did
Yes.
it, and I'm like,
Yes.
hey, I've done it
Yes.
again. Because
Yes.
that isn't easy. Oh my gosh, that's so difficult for me. But
Good for
it's
you.
just like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Good for you. The power you're getting now, you're getting into the nervous system and how our body relates, giving
It's all
yourself
because
that
of
that
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 illness, and
hot
I heard
shower.
somewhere that it helps with the immune system. So,
Yes, it does. It does. It helps to boost the immune system. It also helps, especially at night. It helps to relax you, relax all your muscles, and then the just a maybe even 30 seconds of just a cold water helps you to sleep better at night, puts you out. So that is a
yeah, my
great
neighbors must hear me
strategy.
going, oh, they must think, what's she doing? But I tell you what, I'm like, and I'm like, please, please let this finish. Please let this finish.
Could I give you a little tip?
Go,
Like, and
go
I've been thinking
ahead.
about
Yeah.
it. When your body is going through that shock, because that's literally what it's with the cold water, right? The temperature change, use your breath. Use your
Yeah, we
breath to
tried
breathe
it.
through it. So, right? So breathe in for a count of four, hold it for a count of four, and breathe
Four,
out for a count of
four is
four. Yeah.
impossible at the moment, but I'll get into about two before I go,
It builds resilience. You keep at it,
oh,
it builds
it's got to
resilience.
have an awesome effect because it's like so really tough for me. So next time I speak to you, I'll go, oh my gosh, I've had this
Yeah.
amazing experience because of the cold shower.
Good for you. It helps to reverse aging too.
I
It's
know.
great
Well,
for your
I'm
skin.
reversing
Great for your skin.
backwards. I tell you what,
Yes.
I look completely different than I did a few years ago, and that's all because of the work I've done on myself. So,
Yes.
just as a little tip before I come back to you when we close, is that if anybody's looking to look younger, if anybody's looking to ditch the expensive night creams and day creams for something
Mm.
that's far cheaper, I tell you what, eat like a king at breakfast, lunch like a queen, dinner like a pauper. As Jamal was saying, get that savory inside instead of the donut, and go shower after a warm bath. But literally, I tell you what, the skin blooms. It's just incredible. You know, if you're good on the inside, it shows on the outside as well. So
Yes.
yeah. Oh, Jamal, it's crazy. It's been so good speaking to you. And I
Pleasure.
just know, how can people get hold of you?
Kwesi Jamaal, Kwesi Jamaal. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, so socials. And my website, Linktree, Kwesi Activator Jamal. Kwesi
Oh,
Activator
crazy
Jamal.
activated Jamal. I
Yes,
love
activator.
it.
I call myself the health and wealth activator, your health and wealth activator, because I'm very passionate about activating people in their purpose, using health, using mindset, and using movement. So yes,
Hey.
Kwesi Activator Jamal.
Oh, well done, everybody. They'll be in the show notes anyway. So don't worry if you've not quite got that. It's fine. But crazy, such a pleasure. Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing your wisdom with us. It's been a real treat. And
Appreciate
everybody
it.
that's listening, every week we try and give you a guest that's going to be awesome, inspiring, give you different ways, etc. I'm not a health expert, but all I know what works for me. So I speak from my heart. If it doesn't resonate, that's absolutely fine. There are so many different
Yeah.
things you can do. But I hope we've given some inspiration today. And gosh, if you can graduate to the cold showers after the warm bath, then please do comment because somebody might be able to give me some tips of wisdom to keep me going while I keep on doing it. But thanks again, Kwesi. It's been wonderful having you as a wonderful
Pleasure.
special guest. And everybody, we'll see you again next time very, very soon. Bye bye now.